And here they are, as mentioned, Gabriel did win the die roll after rolling a couple of sixes in a row, and he will be going first, as we have seen throughout time and time again. The Tearlaments deck when going first, and I think he drew the instant fusion.
Yes, so you don't really need the triple tracket thrust at all now.
Absolutely, starting thing off with instant fusion as the first card played at a YCS can already design the path you're gonna take this weekend maybe.
And as we saw in YCS Dortmund, I think this deck still is the deck to be beaten at this event. I think Gabriel's list is pretty solid. Besides playing Baldrake in the main deck, he doesn't have any other, let's say, relevant or newest addition rather than the Tearlaments Kashtira. That I'm really looking forward to seeing in 3 copies. And I think the deck is very powerful. And now he's going to mill the first 3 cards. There's a Kelbeck being milled by Gabriel. And here comes other 5 cards from the top of his deck. And now he's going to resolve some Tearlaments effect. As we saw, Riccardo was holding a copy of Infinite Impermanence, now milled 5. And now, as you can see, Gabriel is going through some of Riccardo's cards.
Yeah, he's gonna read some of these cards, and as mentioned, Gabriel obviously a very experienced player, but when you're up against a deck you have not really seen before, we have seen plenty of time how this can be a really tough way to deal with it. But now, as you can see, such a great start for Gabriel.
And also entering into this format, you really have to adapt your deck depending on what your choices are, especially because like Riccardo is not playing any copy of Ash Blossom. Instead of playing 3 enemy controller, that is a card that I think this weekend we will see a lot being played.
For sure, enemy controller was really popular at the European Championship, and I think it has since fallen off in popularity, but has now really coming back, especially in these Spright decks. I think it makes a lot of sense. Can we take a look just to see if Gabriel is using 1 or 2 copies of Kid Kalos because of the only one? Okay, interesting. Because a trend again to play against Kashtira are easily able to pick the 1 copies to just play multiples. Apparently, Gabriel didn't think that was the way, and I think he's playing 15 one-offs.
All one-offs, exactly. Yeah, I think this is a very interesting choice, and if Gabriel wins, maybe we could ask him directly why he decided to go for this option, because as you mentioned, playing against Kashtira, you really want sometimes to have at least 2 ops of one of your extra deck monsters, but looks like Gabriel didn't really feel like that was needed. And Riccardo doesn't seem to have any sort of interruption on Gabriel's turn, and here we're seeing, the Kid Kalos being activated and also the Tearlaments Kashtira, so there will be some cards being milled by Gabriel.
And what a way to start things off. Here we see one of the first Kashtira cards, of course, the one that's gonna be played in Tearlaments all weekend, because not only is it a Kashtira card, it's a Tearlament card as well. Great addition to the deck, because it's essentially is kind of a small Ishizu, because it gets you milling more cards, and if you also summon it, I think it's basically half a Bestial and half an Ishizu card, because the way you summon it is similar to a Bestial by banishing one of your Kashtira or Tearlament cards, but then you get to mill essentially 5, so great addition. And now I think we see an Angler maybe, but this, as we mentioned plenty of times already, it's something you need to prepare for. When you know that Tearlaments is gonna be the most popular deck, you need to know. And funny enough, I think Kashtira is way similar, because they banish cards off the top of your deck. So you need to play against decks this format where they take away consistently 8 to 10 cards from your deck, and not all the decks can afford to run that. Like combo decks are not an option.
Yeah, that's why I'm still a big fan of Dimension Shifter being played in Spright. It's of course like not the case that Riccardo is playing a standard version, let's say, but with Gishki, you just have more speed and consistency, and you have more powerful plays. But on the other hand, as you mentioned, if you expect elements being played so much during the weekend, you have to play it at least in the side deck dimension shifter. And I think that card, of course, is still very, very impactful during this weekend. And,
yeah. And what a great start by the French player, nonetheless. We know how they are really passionate about the game, and talking to a few of them yesterday, they really want to take this title home. They always try their best, but I feel like their pride when playing here in France is honestly over the roof. All of them really, really want to claim the title for themselves, and what a start. We do see the new Bestial, so I'm going to bring it up for you guys. It's so strong. Because not only is it a Bestial, which we have seen how they are amazing overall, but they can do so much. And here, instead, Gabriel going for the Beatrice. He has quite a few interesting targets, but what a start, honestly.
Yeah, I think you can't really ask for more, but what a first turn for Gabriel.
Yeah, and interesting, obviously, that he also decided to go for the Redoer. I mean, he saw that he was up against Spright. Otherwise, this opening, imagine it in the mirror match, it would have been a dueller too.
Yeah.
So, what a way to start things off. This is already an upfield battle for the Italian, who will try his best to stay in this game.
Facing this field, it's very scary, because there's the elf that could summon you another piece, and then the Redoer being activated.
Yep. And let's see what he gets. Ooh, it's actually not the best one. Was looking for something else. Either a spell or a trap would have been better, but you take it. And yeah, you can see Riccardo kind of shaking his head. To be fair, also, we have mentioned it plenty of times, playing on stream is not an easy task, especially in round one, when we have interviewed a lot of experienced players or YCS winners, and even them are nervous in round one often. So I think, yeah, Riccardo has seen enough, and this is a very quick game one that goes to Gabriel Soucy. What a way to start things off, really explosive opening. In the end, obviously, the die roll mattered, because we know Gabriel opened instant fusion, and we know how powerful that card is. One of the best tools in the deck. Just gets you over the roof, because you basically get to mill 8 cards and still have the normal summon.
No, I mean, Gabriel's hand was incredible, especially because Riccardo didn't have anything going on to stop his opponent. And if you're playing Tearlaments, this is really what you're looking for in your turn one. Riccardo's elf, you know, Beatrice, and
definitely the dream opening. But now I am excited to see what Riccardo is going to have in store for us. Going first with his Gishki deck, what do you think he's going to bring in from his side deck?
So looking at his side deck, I think he's going to probably main decking the triple tactics thrust, which might be a good addition, especially because seeing at his side deck, I think these are mostly going second cards.
I agree.
So I don't really think you want to add more cards to your engine, and especially because this is a very powerful and combo deck, so you really need your pieces.
Like, as you hopefully we'll be able to see, these Gishki cards that just make so much sense in the deck. The ones he has chosen are all level 2s, and some of them are not even once per turn, and when they are summoned, so even when you get them with Gigantic or back with Elf, they give you a +1, so you can really do a lot. And then you end with a Ritual Summon, which also negates monster effects, and they shuffle them back to the deck. So I think it's a really interesting deck, and hopefully we'll be able to see it. On the other hand, though, what do you think Gabriel is going to do?
I think Gabriel is very prepared, especially either in going first or going second, I would say. He has Side-Framing Gamma, which is honestly one of the best ones to go second, and also 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence that we will soon see being sided in by Gabriel. I think that this is what you really need it, especially because against Spright, you basically can stop them with a sprint, like Impermanence the sprint, and then you can Gamma, or
Yeah, I mean,
either one of them.
Gamma, we have mentioned it, you know, I'm a fan, is probably my favorite, yeah, that kind of card of all time. I really like it. And it's especially powerful against Spright, because you really need the monster on the field. We also see other cards, of course the Bestials, maybe not that great against this version, because there are a lot of water monsters in the deck. But to be honest, Gabriel, although he milled 10 cards, only really saw one of the mirrors. He didn't see the other cards. Yeah. Maybe he's not that familiar with it. But our duelists are ready, so let's just go back to game 2 real quick. Here they are, so let's see if Riccardo is able to go through some of these Gishki combos. Full monster hand, it seems, from Gabriel, and we do see one of these first Gishki card, which is the focused Aqua Mirror, essentially one of the best way to open up, because it searches any of the Gishki monsters from your deck. And not only that, during the end phase, if you manage to ritual summon, you also get to set a spell or trap from your deck, so it's essentially a +1 if you manage to do so. And really great things to start things off. But Gabriel is thinking, or maybe bluffing, an Ash Blossom here. Let's see. I think I see a Gamma.
Yeah, you should have. You should have a Gamma.
I think Gabriel might have a Gamma in hand, which could be devastating for his opponent.
And also here, I'm very curious to seeing the point in which Gabriel will be using the Gamma, because of course you know that your opponent is playing sprites, but against Gishki cards, how do you actually interact with them if you don't really quite know the deck or are not familiar with it?
Yeah, he's gonna go through some reading. This is the Griminess, and it's such a great card. When it's normal special summon, you get to special another Gishki from the deck. So let's see if Gamma will be used. It is.
Yeah.
Oof, this hurts so much for Riccardo. Gamma on the Gishki normal. This could potentially shut down everything from the Italian. Let's see if he has enough, and great side deck decision by the French player for sure.
Yeah, as we were mentioning, when you basically are up against Sprite deck, you basically allow them to normal summon, and as soon as they do an effect, you just go with Gamma, because now Riccardo needs the starter.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have a starter here, he could maybe just pass his turn.
Yeah, which would be a shame. Let's see if he has any other option. Maybe a ritual spell would be nice as well. He doesn't seem too happy about it, but he does. Okay.
He has a triple tactic thrust.
Yeah, first time we see it in action this weekend. Most likely won't be the last. This is a great addition from Photon Hypernova. Essentially allows him to search for any normal spell or trap card. And it works especially well against Gamma.
Yeah.
Because your opponent controls a monster. So you can add it to the hand and use it right away. And he goes for the talent. So triple tactics, adding the other tactics to his hand.
And this might be very powerful, because basically he could take the Gamma, and then if
you have a level 2.
Exactly. And then he can just special summon one of his Sprite monsters.
In this case, the Gamma would actually be detrimental for Gabriel, which you can see is not that happy about it. But let me take a look at the end. I think I might have seen a Smashers, maybe, but can't quite tell the rest of Riccardo's hand. And let's see this effect. He's really considering it. Yeah, he goes to draw, and I think this makes Gabriel quite happy. He probably did not have another Sprite monster in hand.
And this is very unlucky for Riccardo, because if he did have one, we could have seen something else from him. This is very unfortunate, because basically when you have talent against Gamma, it is very powerful, because basically you just need another monster to get things through. But this
and
was not the
unfortunately
case.
just sets a couple of face downs, gonna go for 3 sets and end his turn. What a shame. The gamma was too strong for Riccardo, and now it's Gabriel who picks up a trap card, maybe an impermanence, and will try to combo through. Goes for a Merly, so a weak start, but it's wow. What some meals from the French player. I mean, when you open up with Instant Fusion as the first card in a YCS, I think it's a good sign that your event will go well, I would say.
And we have to say that although we saw in action the triple tactic thrust from Riccardo's side, we might have seen something different being played by him, but he didn't have anything else going on with Sprite Monsters.
Yeah, he gets the Shireen, now he will be able to go for a Kid Kalos. We might see an impermanence, but in that case, do you think it would have been better to use it on the Merly?
Yeah, if your opponent just goes straight with Merly, you just go impermanence. But I don't think he's holding one. Maybe he just said the ritual spell he added with the Aqua Mirror, and then maybe as you saw the starter, maybe was that the Smasher? He wished to have the start.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the wisest of decisions, I would say. But yeah, here I think Gabriel won't be that kind to let his opponent see another turn. He'll just try his best to OTK here, and now with 6 cards in his hand, I think he's gonna go for Shireen. He also has Mudora, I think. Yeah,
he has one of them. Yeah,
as well the Tearlament Kashtira in hand. So it's so much advantage. And
wow.
Oof. Yeah, these are huge meals. He gets the Tearlament Kashtira, he gets another of the names in Avnis, and what a way to combo through.
And honestly, we mentioned this already in our meta deck discussion. This is what the deck does at its best. And this is pretty scary, honestly, because this weekend, if I wouldn't play Sprite, honestly, which I'm really fan of course, Dimension Shifter helps a lot, but honestly, also the Bestials get to stop your opponent, so that might be one of the best solutions still to stop Tearlaments' activation cut.
Yeah, instead he's gonna get to mill 5. Nothing really interesting from Riccardo, unfortunately. Those are the Gishki cards that we would have liked to see in action last turn. Instead, it is Gabriel who is free to do whatever he wants, and unless there is a cheeky mirror force face down from the Italian, I think he has all the tools he needs to just take this one home. Let's see. Yeah, gonna go for another fusion summon.
Because here he could also consider just fusioning summon in another battle phase if he really wants to.
Yeah. Of course, you also want to prioritize the rule Kalos, because after siding Nibiru is a card that is being really popular this weekend because of Kashtira as well. It's really strong against that deck. And you can always side it, because if the Tearlaments players gets greedy, I think he can really punish them. And this would be the case here. But as mentioned, there was another copy of the Tearlaments Kashtira in hand from Gabriel, and this is where he will get to use it, even sending some more cards off the top. Wow. And he even gets the Agido. I don't even think you use it here. You don't really need to, because you never know if you mill the Nimble from your opponent deck, then you maybe don't have enough to win the game. Yeah, he doesn't use it.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, because if Riccardo mills an Angler there, he just have 2 pieces. So
and yeah, it's gonna go for the Kid Kalos. Enemy controller actually switches it to defense position, so trying his best to stay in this game. hanging in there.
Okay.
And a second enemy controller. Yeah, just gonna try his best. You can see both having a laugh at this. Obviously, Gabriel more genuine laugh because he knows he's probably winning this game and match for himself.
Maybe there's still some hope for Riccardo.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
You really never know. Maybe the face down is unevenly matched. And now we'll see it activated at the end of the battle phase.
Because here you could go once again for the redoer if he really wants to. And then the L, yeah, I mean, you have a lot of options.
Absolutely, yeah. Gonna get a draw as well from the deck. He already had the impermanence, gets a second gamma, which is not gonna do much, but yeah, here this is so strong. You can go for the redoer as well. Let's see. Yeah, gonna overlay and go for redoer. Not a surprise. This is so strong. It is able to access another fusion summon on the next turn, and now he's considering getting back the Marley. You can also get back the Gamma, by the way, which can be special summoned by Elf as an effect.
Yeah, and here goes with the Kid Colossus, milling some other names.
Just because, and yeah.
Why not?
Graveyard filled with cards, and as he goes, you can see Riccardo's expression being like, this is not the way I envision my day going tonight in my dreams. But unfortunately, a cold shower is the way YCS Lyon is greeting him. But I'm sure, as we mentioned, it's a long day. It's just the first of 9 rounds today. You gotta keep your composure and win out. You have plenty of chances to advance to the top cut with an X2-1 record. So, as always, the advice is the first 2 losses don't really matter. It's the third that's a little more painful.
Yeah.
So.
And here Gabriel just showcasing us some of his remaining combos. He also comes to sprint, which
showing off,
like.
we can say. He's showing off for the French fans. He really just wanna prove everyone how good and comfortable he is with the deck. He even sets a couple of face down cards, one of which was an impermanence. And now, gonna end this turn in the standby, so he's gonna use the redoer to get a material off the top of the deck of Riccardo, who needs a miracle from the top. And having already used both the Trust and the Talent, this is also much tougher, because those are cards that usually gets you out of a spot like this.
Yeah. Still, I don't get why he didn't set the impermanence in the same column, though.
It's probably not want to risk an impermanence from his opponent, because it would be a 2-for-1 while he's like, I don't need a 2-for-1 now. I already have so much advantage that I might as well not risk my opponent getting it. So it can make sense. But of course, I agree with you that if that wasn't an impermanence, we would have seen it way earlier.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just playing around Mech Knights, you know. Yeah. But now he takes the red from his opponent deck, and yeah, Riccardo gonna consider his option with just a couple of cards left in his hand, and
yeah, he will need something like Dark Ruler no more,
or Dark Hole.
Or Dark Hole.
Dark Hole no more. Yeah. So instead, he starts things off once again with the Gishki. In this case, Abyss, which will get him a +1. And this was one of the really cool cards of this deck, which is a shame we didn't get to see in action, because this is not a once per turn. You can get it with the Gigantic Elf, and it basically alone gives you access to the Ritual Summon of the ne remanas. So at that point, it's a lot. But yeah, here, Gabriel not taking any chances, gonna negate it already.
Yeah, I really like this variant because basically you have a lot of Gishki monsters that allow you to search into ritual spell monsters, and it's this very synergic one, especially because you play a lot with the extra deck as well.
Okay, he even hits them early as if he didn't have enough. So he will be able to access either Mad Dragon. Let's see what he wants to go for now. He has Tapelia, a lot of different options which are amazing. Yeah, and it is the Tapelia at the moment. Which, as we have seen multiple times throughout the past months, is especially good against Spright because it turns it into level 1s, which is a huge deal when you want to go for an XYZ summon.
Let's see if now Riccardo can come back into this one by special summoning the Jet.
Yeah, he's trying his best. Of course, Zeus would be the one way to come back into this game, but actually an impairment is coming down here. Interesting from Gabriel.
So I think he just maybe just wants his opponent to be basically, I don't know, going to a Sprite and then
yeah, and then try to go for another fusion summon, I guess. Kaleido?
Yeah.
I think Kaleido art would be the way to do it. But here we see a good try from Gabriel, which, as you mentioned, is starting to use his resources a little too recklessly, if you ask me. He didn't really need to use any of them at the moment. And this would be a huge punish. Not, of course, as much as a game-losing punish, but maybe getting a little too excited, because now, as you can see, he's risking it quite a bit, because he loses the Rulkalos. His opponent is able to get the starter and get back into the game. Of course, the issue is that once you go to and activate the starter, you cannot access the Zeus, which is a big deal, because that's the way you would come back into this game. But I mean, you gotta try your best.
Unfortunately, the Redoer attached the red, which might have helped Riccardo in this situation. But
I mean, you get the blue, I think.
Yeah,
right?
the blue, and then he would have got the red. But
you gotta get the blue, and unfortunately, as you mentioned, he's gonna just check the cards, because I think, the red has been taken by Gabriel, unfortunately. So yeah, he's gonna take some damage from this, going pretty much at 300 life points left, or something along those lines. And yeah, with the red being taken away, I don't even think he might have any targets left.
Maybe he has Carrot?
No,
no, he milled it.
Yeah, I don't think he has it. As you can see,
he has no target.
I mean, he does have a Jet, which you cannot special summon, but at least you can add it, which wouldn't hurt. But apparently, not gonna go for it. I think he sided out the Carrot, maybe. Wow.
This is unfortunate, because now basically Riccardo is forced into going either for a Link Summon or XYZ Summon, and then there's a sprint that can be activated. So yeah, he's forced to add the Jet for blues.
Gonna get the Jet, as he already special summoned it. That's not really gonna be a useful card for the rest of this duel, or at least this turn. To be fair, I thought this was gonna be over a lot sooner. Already 28 minutes, basically half an hour down the line, and they're really trying their best to just stay in this. As mentioned, starting off the day can be brutal, because you build the momentum, and when you start winning, it's a thing. And it's also been a theme of the weekend, as mentioned, for these decks, specifically targeting Tearlaments. When you lose the first rounds, it's a shame, because then you're most likely going to play against similar decks, and Shifter, the Inscription, and all these kind of cards becomes suddenly like awful.
Yeah. And here I think Riccardo is going for the... Okay, he goes for the elf.
Yeah, elf coming down.
Yeah, he just goes for the sprint. Makes sense.
Yeah, gonna detach one, bounce back. His opponent will chain the effect, but there is also any of the shufflers from Gabriel shutting down the turn from Riccardo. Even the Stapelia and the Redoer have not been activated, so there is still so many interruptions from the French player. And yeah, this is what's going on here. The elf is back to the extra deck, and I don't think Riccardo has anything left this turn.
Oh, because he did normal summon, he activated the starter. Let's see if he has anything else going on, maybe a triple tactic talents or something like that, but
yeah,
he doesn't.
The fist bomb comes down, and it is Gabriel who wins 2-0 the first round of YCS Lyon. Let's go back to us. What a way to start things off. As mentioned, we picked one of the best French players of all time to start things off here at YCS Lyon 2023. Gabriel Soucy, very comfortable with this Tearlaments deck, went first, won the die roll, opened Eastern Fusion, and game one from there on was not going anywhere else from this way. Game two, he sides in his copies of Psy-Frame Gamma, opened it up, and unfortunately for the Italian, that's enough to shut down his Gishki combo. He tried his best.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate, especially because he had the triple tactic thrust in his hand, so we thought, okay, he's just gonna grab the talent. He activated the talent and then he drew 2 cards. So unfortunately, he didn't have any Sprite monsters along the line. And also, I think that when the Sprite Blue was summoned before the starter, then he lost the red, and the carrot was milled before.
Yeah, so, to be fair, probably would have lost regardless, but that's just, you know, as in Italy we say, oltre a danno una beffa. So after damage you even get even more unlucky. So sometimes that's just how it is. But that was just round one. As mentioned, guys, we have still 8 more rounds remaining for the day. But before we jump into round 2, we have Ed ready with the winner, Gabriel Soucy. So let's hear it from them.
Hello guys, yes I am here with Gabriel Soucy, the winner of round 1 of our feature match here at YCS Lyon. Firstly, congratulations, how does that feel?
It feels great, it's always a good start to win round 1. I lost round 1 to a lot of tournaments that I did well or bad too, so I'm happy that it starts good. Yeah.
It started really well, so let's go through some of the plays that we saw, because game 1 I think lasted about 3 minutes. You just set up a huge field of the sort of interruptions. The instant fusion really got you started, so Riccardo just scooped. So when your opponent's scooping that quickly, what's going through your head for the second game?
So to be honest, the main thing about the game 1 was the fact that he's not playing a lot of things that interrupts me in my graveyard. So I was able to mill his deck very quickly and then set up a good board. I was quite frustrated that I could not see his way of playing, etc. Maybe I should have done a weaker board so I could see him play a little bit. I don't know. I just felt like I needed to secure that game 1, and then I knew that it wasn't going to time, so that was a cool thing as well.
So game 2, there was obviously Riccardo went first in that one, hoping to maybe get some of the advantage, but then you interrupted with the Psy-Frame Gamma. You saw there was all of the triple tactics things that went into the draws. So when you see triple tactics talent going into a draw and he's not looking at your hand, are you suddenly going, okay, I might be in a good place because he doesn't have anything that's going to deal with me?
Yeah, the new tactics and TTT are very good cards. They help you play around Gamma pretty well because you can take the Gamma and then special summon the Sprite monster because Gamma is a level 2. So usually when I use Gamma, they cannot use TTT to look at my hand. They have to either take my Gamma or try to draw cards. But here he drew cards, so I know he had a very bad hand, and I saw a lot of cards by milling his deck game 1, so I knew about the enemy controllers, etc. So I tried to put up as many monsters as I could, but it wasn't enough to make lethal through double enemy controller that put my monsters in defense. But he did his best, but his hand was kind of bad, to be honest. Yeah.
You also had some really good mills because you got into Sherin and Salig and Merli and things. And also saw that you've got the Kashtira Tearlaments, obviously one of the newer names. How are you finding that affects the deck?
I feel like it's another way to mill the deck. That's cool. I like the fact that it's able to interact with the opponent during his turn, even though sometimes you have to banish cards from your hand, which is kind of painful. Well, I just feel like it's a good card right now. It helps you against pretty weird matchups like Thunderies and Kashtira. So that's what you're asking for a card, yeah.
Well, excellent. And then the rest of it sort of went fairly smoothly. It went on a lot longer than we thought. Riccardo was really trying to grab on that first feature match of the tournament. You know, you want to go down swinging. But in the end, you came out on top. So congratulations one more time. Are there any decks over this weekend that you're not really that excited about going up against?
Yeah, just wish me to not play against Kashtira, please.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens. Best of luck for the rest of this tournament because hopefully it's going to go your way. You're off to a swimming start, so we'll see exactly where you go. Maybe we'll see you in the top cut. Who knows? Got a number of rounds of Swiss left, and hopefully those all go well for you. Best of luck with that Tier Kashtira sort of mix thing going on there. But guys, don't go anywhere because we're going to have our second game coming up very, very soon. Don't go anywhere.